Alright, I'm slightly switching up where I'm doing these videos just because it's easier for me to focus on what I'm talking about with my table in front of me. What today's video is it's about shooting gloves, but it's about the experience behind shooting gloves. I know that's what people come to these videos for, and that's probably what you're coming to this video for, is because there's a lot of shooting gloves out there and there's kind of reasons to have one or not have one. And so since I was looking around, I found just a ridiculous amount of gloves in my other room. I figured I have some experience with a couple of these, namely the Mechanix gloves and the Victos gloves. So I'm going to be going through this stack, talking about what experiences I've had with each one of these. Some of these are lefts and rights, and so the stack isn't really this big, but I'm going to go down the line and talk about these because there's always a time where you wish you had gloves but you didn't have them. And so hopefully I can shed some light on when it's nice to have those shooting gloves in your car or in your bag or whatever. Now the gloves that I picked, they're not like the most expensive ones. They're ones that you can find on Amazon pretty easily. And that's the reason that I got these ones, is because I just ordered them on Amazon. They came within a couple days. So the first glove on the stack that we're going to talk about is the Mechanix Fast Fit Covert gloves. They made these special Covert edition ones. It's literally because they're just all black. The Mechanix lettering here isn't in white, so it doesn't pop. So for that reason, they call it Covert. But what I really do like about these gloves, and the reason why I've bought maybe 7 or 8 pairs of these in the past, is because it has this loop here. If you can see, it's just got this loop, and it's super easy to put on. And there you go. It's got some kind of elastic cinching around here. I don't know if you can see, but it's got some cinching around here that, you know, it keeps it on. It doesn't have a Velcro strap. But a couple things to talk about with these. They're the Mechanix Fast Fit gloves on Amazon or on their website. Is they're not durable. The reason I've had 6 or 7 or 8 pairs of these is because I keep on putting holes in them. They wear through pretty quickly. If you're using them for shooting, I don't think it's going to be that bad, but if you use them for anything else, I don't know how long it's going to last for you. Another thing is these aren't very heat resistant. I've actually melted through about 2 pairs because I thought I took them camping and I thought maybe they'd be good for doing some things with the fire, and it definitely wasn't, so watch out for that. But what I do like about these gloves is that they're very close to your finger. If you get the right size, they hug your finger. They're about right there. There's no excess in between the fingers, which is something that I find really annoying when I'm wearing gloves. So in order to have that, it's kind of nice, but I think there's a better option here in a second that I'll show you that would really take care of the whole issue where I bought in multiples of these because they just don't last long. Alright, the next glove here looks almost identical, and because they do call it a covert glove, 5mm high dexterity gloves, so they hug you even closer, but they're also thinner. So I'll put them on and I'll kind of show you. These don't have that loop that you can just pull it on really easy. These actually have a Velcro strap, which they may not go on as fast, but it's not a big deal. But they do stay on really well. Because these are the thinnest, they are by far the most comfortable gloves I have of all my other gloves. They are the thinnest, so they will wear out pretty quickly, kind of like the slim or the fast fit gloves. But I don't think they're made specifically for that. And I think I realized that with these gloves is, I think literally they're just gloves because you don't want to touch whatever you're working on. Like, if you're using these for shooting, I think these would probably be the best ones. Let's just throw the fast fit ones out because I don't think they're as good as these ones. They're not as good as the next pair either. These would be the best in terms of dexterity. Like, you're getting your finger in there, you're doing reloads. That's not going to be a problem at all. So You probably would get away with buying maybe 2 or 3 pairs of these, and they would last way, way, way longer than those fast fit gloves. These are the original ones. They're thicker. They're not too bad in terms of excess material, but they're nowhere near close to the last two. But these are the ones that, you know, you always see. Maybe you go to get an oil change, and I swear I see people wearing these gloves right here. These are slightly different. If you're shooting with these, just know it doesn't have that faux leather. It's not as grippy. It's more of a suede or more of a fabric. Now, they say that all of these gloves that they have, maybe not this pair, but the last 2 pairs of gloves that on the Mechanix website, they say that it's good for using touch screens on your phone and stuff. And I think that really goes to show what kind of gloves those are compared to these ones, where I don't think they advertise that these are touch screen friendly. But that being said, because I made the mistake of buying so many of those other ones, I haven't really gotten a lot of use out of this one. This pair. Look at that. Weird alien fingers. I haven't gotten a lot of use out of this pair, but I think this is the route I would go. They also make some that are in FDE or multicam or whatever, so if you're using them for shooting or for your kit, let's say, these wouldn't be bad. Just know that there's an even better, more durable version in the Mechanix Impact gloves. These are specifically for working. They're not so much for your kit, but like I said, they make these ones and these ones in black, FDE, multicam, and I've seen them in like M81 Woodland, which is pretty cool. These are the ones that I would take with me to if for any reason something ever happened and I was in the thick of it, I would take the impact ones for sure over all these couple of gloves that I've shown you. They don't really have that impact resistance. This has like rubber on it. This has padding with rubber and with this faux leather stuff here. So while I would buy these more for work gloves, car gloves, I would buy the high dexterity ones for just shooting out at the range. You need a pair of gloves because it's raining or slippery or something. But if all went to crap, I would probably want to take these ones in a better camo configuration, so you're not showing everybody your yellow fingers and standing out. So that ends the Mechanix gloves, and that brings us to the Victos gloves. I only have 2 pairs of these Victos gloves, but I liked them so much that I had bought another pair because I haven't had these break. I haven't had any holes pop through. I haven't lost any grip or threading yet. And there's a couple cool things about these gloves. So this is the Victos LEO duty use gloves. So LEO for law enforcement. You might see this stuff, I guess, for SWAT teams or SWAT units. Let me put it on real quick. But these gloves are nice because they do have this nice faux leather type of grip on the bottom, which is pretty good with shooting because I've used these shooting more than any of my other gloves. But they also have, if you can see here, these shiny strips are a kind of a grippy strip. And I think that's honestly the way to go with your guns, especially if you're shooting an AR. Your support hand would probably use that quite a bit, but it just gives it a little bit extra grip. They're kind of in line, those little grippy strips, they're kind of in line with like a pair of football receiving gloves where they just have that stick to them. I brought these out because I don't recommend anybody actually go shooting or use sporting gloves for shooting or for hiking with your kit or anything like that. I don't recommend football gloves, baseball gloves, and I least would recommend like a pair of golfing gloves. They're just meant for I think just the lightest amount of grip. So, are shooting gloves a good idea or are they worth it? I definitely think so. There's been plenty of times where having gloves on have saved my palms, saved my fingertips. Another thing is if you're shooting while moving, sometimes you might slip, and I have saved my palms again from getting rocks embedded in there. Now, in terms of grip while shooting, it's actually not as bad as people would think. It's not slicker than your hands. I would say that a lot of times your texturing on your gun and the let's say faux leather or felt or whatever you're using on your palm actually gives you a better grip. And I haven't found a problem with these, especially these tighter fitting gloves, with having excess material that might run into things. It's not too hard to get my finger into the trigger guard and out, and I wouldn't recommend getting thicker, bigger gloves for that, because then you may run into those problems. The same with light manipulations, right? That's a lot easier to do with these slimmer gloves. And last thing is, if you have some kind of texturing up here or grip tape like I put on my gun, it's way easier to rack with gloves. So just something to keep in mind, that there are definite benefits for having shooting gloves. I would say more than not. The only time I wouldn't use shooting gloves is if it's really the middle of the day and it's the summer and it's hot and you don't want another set of sweaty things. I would opt out of the gloves, but there's been plenty of times I've been gone shooting in spring, fall, and winter where it's been so nice to have. So there's my ridiculous video about gloves. I hope it's helpful to somebody. If you clicked on this video, you might be looking for gloves, but I would have never thought that I had this many gloves just laying around. It's just something that I don't really think about. I don't think about it ever, but it's nice to have a little bit of guidance. And I remember back when I was making the decision of having gloves with me when I go shooting, I did watch some YouTube videos, and it was pretty helpful to see what kinds of Mechanix gloves or this or that were good. I never saw any videos about these Victos LEO duty use gloves, but I just had real life experience with them, so that's why I went and bought another pair. Well, I hope you learned something from my experience, whether it's professional or not. Still, thank you for clicking on the video. I will see you guys in the next video. This might be my new framing I do for my videos. I might do it where the camera is back over here and it's looking in on my monitor and my desk and everything. So, I don't know. I'm playing around with it, but little by little I'm getting it figured out. It's just hard. It's hard when you're starting out trying to make YouTube videos and you don't know exactly what would look best, what lighting would work, you know? Because I do have lights on, because it doesn't look good if you don't have lights on. These lenses are pretty good, but low light is not great for cameras, I don't think. Not with these kinds of videos where I'm talking about products or this or that. Like, I want you to be able to see what I'm talking about. So, I don't know. I kind of like this. I like this framing. Kind of get more of my body, not just my head. You know, who wants to just look at a face? Not me. So this is a little more natural in a workspace. By the way, that has nothing to do with the video. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.